Alright, so I titled this one The Questions, and the eagle-eyed among you would realize that I have recorded two videos today, and this one's going to be the second one. So I titled it The Questions. So, the white coat ceremony is tomorrow, which in effect means that my career begins tomorrow. So, today's Tuesday, the white coat's Wednesday. Thursday is orientation to the program. And then Friday, I have my first class. Tuesday begins my first week of classes. The reason it's a Tuesday is because of Memorial Day. So, little holiday. So, this is, in effect, me looking over the cliff and just seeing what lies ahead of me. To continue to use that analogy, if I am looking out over a cliff, I feel like I'm looking straight down. I feel like I walked up to a cliff, knowing there is a cliff there. I walked up to it and never left right here. My toes are right on the edge, and I'm just looking straight down. I'm not looking around. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just looking straight down. And the reason I say that is because I have so many questions. There's so much that I don't know right now. And the journey to get here has been rocky, which is part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, was so that future people can see what I'm feeling and know that they weren't the only ones going through this. Because that's how I feel right now. I feel like I am the only one with these issues and that everyone else has their stuff figured out. It's just me that's struggling. And I know for a fact it's not true, but it feels that way. So hopefully this will help you in some ways. So I am at the Jacksonville campus. And the best way I can put this is grad school has a lot of moving parts, right? Undergrad, there's a lot going on, but there's a mass volume of students, and it's a the entire place is dedicated to being a college university, right? So let me just pick a random one, right? University of Florida. They have such a high class volume. They have it down to a science at this point. They have so many people relying on them. They have set deadlines and so much more staff to help them figure out the various timelines. Grad school doesn't really have that, at least from my personal experience. So as such, they have to be more reliant on external sources. So for like a venue, NSU Jacksonville doesn't have a big enough venue to have the white coat ceremony, right? So if you were talking like University of Florida, you just go to their stadium, you go to their amphitheater, their basketball stadium, you go any number of those places. But because NSU specifically is a smaller place, they have to rely on outside and external sources. And that was a big hurdle for me. And also the smaller staff means that for each individual person, their responsibilities are a lot greater. Which, it means you're going to get spread thin, and it means that there's going to be some things that fall in the cracks. So I'm not going to name names in this. I'm going to leave it perfectly ambiguous because I feel like that's the best way to do it. So we had a Zoom meeting. This was a while ago. This was like February. We had a Zoom meeting about like general expectations. You have to get drug screening and or like vaccines and all those types of things, right? We were told that the slides from that would be published, and they never were. We were told that the start date would be the Tuesday, which is, that's the 28th. But it could start before that. So, and then there was also tentative days for the white coat and orientation. And we knew roughly what time, but it wasn't finalized. Which, from my perspective, I'm a very neat and orderly person. If I say I'm going to be there at 6, you'll see me at 6, but you might see me at 5:45. Because that's just the way I work, is whatever I say goes. I don't do ambiguity. I don't like receiving ambiguity, and I don't like giving ambiguity because I feel like it's unfair. So that was a big hurdle for me, was there's ambiguity, and I have to deal with it, but it will be okay. So then going back to the ambiguity, the white coat and orientation also had some ambiguity around it. So the white coat is tomorrow. We found out what to wear today. We knew we found the location, we were told about it a week ago. So I moved here on the 3rd. So for that, how long would that be? We'll call it 2-week stretch. I had no idea where I would need to be, what time I'd need to be there, what I needed to wear, and how it would work. I had no clue. And that was painful for me because I don't do unknowns. I don't like them. Right? Like I said, I don't do ambiguity. It needs to be black and white. I can deal with gray, but I need to be familiar with the gray for me to be happy about it. So same thing for orientation. We found out more details about that yesterday. So we're finding out what to do on the 23rd on the 20th, which is hard. Now, once again, I recognize why it is that way, right? As I said, it's a smaller, more dedicated place, fewer staff. It just pure and simply does not have the space, nor the money, nor the staff to make everything exactly perfect so they know that, all right, guys, on May 22nd, you're going to be at, this part of campus at this time wearing this. They can't do that. So that was a big curve for me. So I hope that you going into this won't be smacked in the face by that same hurdle. Because I felt like I was going through it alone. We have a group me currently, and that was blowing up with other people who were confused. But I felt like I was the most confused one. So hopefully you don't feel that way. Thankfully, I have indirectly an acquaintance who, this is going to be weird. My wife has an acquaintance whose boyfriend, it's raining, who is a CAA student. So I was able to bounce some questions off of them to kind of get a better idea about it. But if I didn't have that, I would have been, I'm not going to say would have been miserable, but I would have felt very much so in the dark. So I'm glad I was able to bounce those off of them. I know that we will be getting a mentor and things like that soon, so that will be helpful. But for now, it was just, I am standing in a pitch black room in the dark, and I feel one wall. I'm not even in the corner. I just feel one wall. Now I have a corner. So, at least there's that. Things are looking up. But it was just so many unknowns. And sometimes we would email a person and we wouldn't get a response back. Like, they're very busy people. I do not want to discount them in any way, shape, or form. They are incredibly busy, and I have nothing but respect for them. But when you feel like, if I'm up against this wall right here, and I'm throwing out a line, hoping someone takes it, and it goes completely unanswered, it just sucks, right? There's no way around it. It just mentally doesn't feel good. Because that was like, you feel like, I got this one hope, and my hope's dead. All right, cool, let's just move on. But you can't. You have to push on. So I have nothing but respect for them, but it does suck. I understand it happens. But you can send a follow-up email, and they'll answer back really quickly. I just called people. It made my life so much easier to just start calling people, and they would always pick up like that. And they are just that busy. So nothing but respect for them. It is just an unfortunate way that things have to happen because of the size of the program. Simple as that. So, that is for the leading up to today. All right, so we are 10 minutes in. Now we're going to look going forward. So going forward, I literally just wrote out a bunch of questions I have in terms of like introspective, like I'll just read them. I'll just work through them, right? Am I good enough? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, is all this effort going to be worth it in the end? Am I prepared for all of this? Do I have what the program takes? What will the program be like? What will be expected of me? I've heard so many things. How will it actually go? All right, so one at a time. Am I good enough for the program? Well, there's no real way to know that. And it's unfortunate because you can't know it. It's just kind of like saying, you know, is my kid tall enough to ride this ride? Well, until you walk over there and, you know, they stand underneath the little thing, you don't know. But the simplest way that I would answer that question for myself is I got accepted. I didn't get like waitlisted or holded or nothing. I got accepted. So at least they think I'm good enough. Right? Or at the very least they think I was better than some other people. So I can hold that to some comfort level. But more of just internally, it's just, you know, I've never done this before. I'm paving a new path. I don't know how it's going to go because I've never done it before. So I'm just kind of having to come to terms with that because I have a lot of self-doubt. I've had it all my academic career. I had it as far back as elementary school. And that's just a function of who I am because I'm so meticulous. I see the flaws in things more than I see the benefits or the positives. Right? So let's just say that, I don't know, I'm studying for an exam, right? We'll just say it's who are we going to pick on? We're just going to say it is an algebra exam. I don't know. Right? I would see all the things that I couldn't do. Right, I would see the limit of, we'll call it this, like the y equals mx plus b, the linear equation. I would see the parts of it that I didn't know and wasn't comfortable with. But I would completely discount everything that I already knew, and I just had it as a fact. Right, like for instance, well, I just gave it for instance, never mind. But, you know, I have to keep in mind for myself that, hey, I already know a lot of this stuff. You know, we gotta not focus on the flaws. I was rambling. Anyway. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Right, I'm putting 27 months of effort into this. 28 if you count this month that I've spent down here getting ready. You know, is it going to be worth it? So the answer is going to be different for everybody. For me personally, I do believe it will be. 27 months is both a long time and it is not long at all. If you're talking being with a toxic ex, 27 months is a long time. Or you gotta cut that off, homeboy. But if it's the grand scheme of your life, 27 months is gonna go by like that. I mean, looking back at it, I feel like I just graduated high school. Right? College feels quick. High school felt quick. My time spent at Publix felt quick. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something like, the days are long, but the weeks are fast. In the moment, things can feel slow, but once you pause and look back, it's gone pretty quick. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. And then as for the effort to put in, I don't know how much effort I have to put in yet. I haven't even had a single class yet. This is before my classes start. But never mind the effort, just the time commitment. I think the time commitment is going to be worth it. It's just, I have to actually do it. So I'm going to work through it with that mindset. Am I prepared for all of this? My undergrad degree, I do think, really prepared me for this. It was biomedical sciences, so I feel like I have a very strong backing in the human body, and I know it. I'm not going to say I know the human body intricately. I know a little and know a lot. I know a little because I recognize how how vast the human body is and how massively complicated it can be. But I also recognize I know a lot because I can pick and pull from various pieces of knowledge because I already have that backbone established. And I feel like I'm going to be good in that regard, but they always say, like, oh, in high school you learned one way, but in college you have to relearn how to learn, and you might have to do it again in grad school. I'm just hoping I have a good baseline on how I need to study and what I have to do to keep going. I have good momentum behind me. I had a 1 semester gap, which is basically nothing, and I've just got to keep this momentum going. Right, so I think I do have that one. Do I have what the program takes? They accepted me. I kind of have to just assume they know what they're doing. They wouldn't take an idiot knowingly. So at least there's that. What will the program be like? I have no idea. Simple answer. I've heard mixed reviews, different people from different campuses. I have no idea. And that's another thing that's hard. I mean, you're going into a very niche field. I say you. I'm going into a very niche field currently. And the current class size, I mean, I could check the group me, but we'll call it 35 people. All right, and there's only a handful of college campuses. So there's not that many people who I could ask reliably. It's a fairly young field. Like, doctors have been around since the dawn of time, but anesthesia assistants have not. So it's much easier, I feel like, to go ask a doctor than it is to ask what we are in AA. So it's kind of hard to wrap my head around that question specifically, because everyone has a different subjective experience. So, like, I don't know Tony. I'm making up a guy. His name's Tony, right? Tony might have been a business major before trying to transition into CAA. So his background is going to be totally different than I am. He's going to have skimmed by the course requirements in terms of, like, all of his electives. Everything else is going to be business geared, but he just tacked on the stuff to get accepted. There's no harp on Tony. He put in the work. Good for him. But we have different backgrounds. So for Tony to say, oh man, you wouldn't believe it, I studied for 16 hours a day for CAA school. Okay. That's Tony, though. I'm not Tony. I have no idea how long it's going to take me. And, that's a daunting thing. I didn't know that going into college either. Right? It's hard to know what you are capable of until you're in that moment. So I just kind of have to keep that mindset of, I was scared to go into high school. I use the word scared. I mean, like, I was apprehensive and I had doubts. I had doubts going into high school. Like, oh my God, this is where the big kids are. Like, how am I going to survive? Everyone says, like, oh, middle school's a breeze, but high school, it hits you like a truck. And am I going to be okay? And then I was. And I put in the needed effort. I figured out what was required, and I did it. And then leaving high school going to college is like, holy crap, man. This is where the adults are. These are the really big kids. You see all the movies as when you're 12 years old, you're like, oh my God, they're in college, they're adults. So I had to step it up, right? I took my high school experience, realized I was getting away with some stuff that I couldn't get away with in college, but I also realized high school is harder in some ways, and I just put that into college, and I did good. I had a couple hiccups, some very painful hiccups. Cal 1 was, not going to name a name, but that professor I had was a pain. And then same for biology, right? But I had these challenges that I'd never had these challenges before. But I figured out how to push through the new challenge. And figure out, okay, I know how to handle this problem. Maybe I can take what I know over here and put it over here. And I was able to do it. And so I'm relying on that past experience to push me forward still. I'm relying on, I have overcome, I know how to problem solve. Let's just take that problem solving ability and let's push it over here to grad school. So that's my current bank. And I haven't even started a day of class, so I can't tell you if it worked or not. Who knows, video 3 might tell you everything you need to know. I should probably start numbering this. Anyway. So it's something. A lot of doubt. A lot of doubt. Like, I'm watching videos currently. I'll name the guy. I guess I'll give him like a little mini shout out, even though I'm basically nothing, and a shout out from me is basically a shout out from a peasant. Jonah Barrows. He's currently a CAA student, and I'm watching his videos, and he's done good in some of them. He's struggled in some of them. He's interviewed people. I see him. We'll just use him as an example. Like, if he says he studies for 10 hours, how's that going to be for me? And it sucks that there is no one answer for that. It really sucks. But it's not a science like that. Everyone learns different. It might take me, if I tried to learn linear algebra, it might take me a year. But if one of my buddies, he could probably learn it in a weekend. But if you flip that, I could learn glycolysis in a few hours. It would take him maybe a week. So I'm just kind of relying on that past experience and knowing how much my background has prepared me, and hoping my problem-solving skills can just push me through. What will the program be like? What will be expected of me? Yeah, they're kind of all the same question repackaged that I wrote down. I have no idea what my class... We don't even have our class schedule yet. We're going to get that probably the day after tomorrow. Once again, like I mentioned, it's just the big adjustment period of not as much staff. Not everything can be perfectly black and white. Professors are actual CAA workers instead of just professors. So they can't double dip. They can't be just professors. There we go. I've heard so many things, how will it actually go? I've heard different accounts from different people from different colleges, right? Anesthesia Sal on Instagram, she went to Emory. Jonah Barrows, he's in NSU in Fort Lauderdale, I'm pretty sure. And, as much as their accounts might be their accounts of CAA schooling might be similar, they're also very different. Emory is a totally different program than NSU, is a totally different program than South, is a totally different program than Bluefield. They all have the same end goal, they all have same common threads, but their approaches can be wildly different. And to that end, it's kind of a difficult decision to make. At least as far, not necessarily a decision to make, but it's difficult to fully rationalize. I can't think of a good way to word it. I'm sorry this video's gotten rambly. It's 23 minutes, holy shit. It's hard to understand what it will actually be like having not done it. And yes, you can look up videos of like, oh, day in the life and all that stuff, but to me it kind of looks like it's Instagram, right? If I had Sarah from high school, she might post her trip to Cabo and then her trip to Germany, but what you don't see between the two, or, she's struggling with, bulimia. Their day in the life videos, for all I know, could just be a highlight reel of today was a good day, or oh wait, today, oh my gosh, I studied so much, this would make a great video, because I could be like, oh, hey guys, I have a massive migraine after studying for 48 hours straight. It kind of lacks authenticity in that way for me, and I know everyone's different when it comes to like their sense of authenticity. But for me, it's just hard to draw a clear line, because at the end of the day, they are content creators. There is an incentive for them to draw views, to draw clicks, to earn engagement. So to that end, I suppose it is kind of hard to find an absolute truth. So I suppose that might be where I fit in. I don't expect these videos to do well. I will be stunned if they get more than 10 views, and that's perfectly fine. I don't like having a platform. I don't want to be, Mr. Big Famous with 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I don't want that. Which is why I'm posting these so delayed. Because I don't want to see if they get traction. I just want to let it be. And I don't want past success to influence my future videos. I just want to let them be. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know when the next batch of people starts. It's currently May. I think Savannah starts in August, I think. I'm probably going to post these a semester or two behind. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, yeah, I'll do that. Semester or two behind, maybe a little bit longer. Just let these marinate. You know, be a good, honest recounting. And that way, you know, none of my current classmates can use my videos against me or anything. They're all really good people, though. So you might be asking yourself, what's the point of these videos? Is it just me rambling? Is it, you know, what is it? At the end of the day, my goal for these videos are to help you not feel alone. Now, you might be like, oh, who the hell's that behind? I'm talking to you, right? If you are in my shoes exactly, right? Which is, I haven't started yet. I don't know what the hell's going on. Nobody's talking to me. I feel like I'm on an island and I'm screaming for help and there is nobody coming. These videos are for you. Because I am right there right now. I feel so alone. It sucks. I know I'm not alone, but I still kind of feel that way because people don't talk about like what's making them anxious. We're all kind of still strangers. So this video is for you, if you were in my shoes. You're accepted somewhere, maybe you're not accepted yet, you think you're going somewhere, but really this is for the people who are accepted, they're not hearing anything, they don't know what's going on. These videos are for you. So please take them for whatever they're worth. I'm not going to give out like an email or nothing, but if you leave a comment, I'll try to get back to you. Just learn from it. You're not alone. That's the one thing. If you take nothing else away from this video, I don't want you to feel alone. That's what it is. You're not alone. I'm scared. I am scared to start the program. And I have white coat ceremony tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then orientation at 8 a.m. And then a class on Friday that I know very little about. 8 a.m. So, you're not alone. So don't think you are. It might seem all fluffy and it might seem like sunshine, roses, and rainbows on Instagram, YouTube, whatever podcast. Do you see a sunshine? Okay, I guess you do. Do you see the rainbows, the unicorns? Nope. I am just a 23-year-old guy in a completely empty room. Well, I have some stuff in the room, but you don't need to know that. Just talking to you. You're not alone. And I can tell you one thing. If you are in my shoes right now, it is hard. So don't feel bad for being worried or apprehensive or nervous or scared. You are not alone. I am there right now. Take a deep breath. Run back everything that you've done to prepare yourself for this moment. They would not accept you to the program if they didn't think you would succeed. If you drop out, they lose tuition money. That's just a fact. If they bring in 30 students and 10 of them drop, they lost a third of their revenue. They don't want that. Okay, I think that's pretty clear. They're a business at the end of the day. They want to make money so they can keep going. So at the very least, one person at NSU believes that you will graduate the program successfully. And they do it for a job. And if that doesn't help you like me, then hopefully you gain something from this video. Just recognize that you are not alone. So, you know, I might end up with some other way of communicating. I might make an Instagram dedicated for this. I might do whatever. But for now, at least this video's going to be posted so late, it doesn't matter. Just leave a comment unless there's something in the description. How about that? Right? If I make an IG, if I do whatever, it'll be posted in the video description. But for now, just go to the description and leave a comment, and I'll do my very best to get back to you. So, you're not alone. Just take a deep breath, drink some water. It'll be okay. So, best of luck to you. And I'll go ahead and end this one here. See ya.